Hey friends, so today I'm going to make these delicious tomato balls or tomato fritters. They're a Greek style recipe that I tried in Santorini. They're absolutely delicious. Let's cook. So the first thing we're going to do is take one small red onion and we're going to really finely dice it. Now that we've finely chopped our red onion, we're going to take 3 cloves of garlic and we're going to really finely chop those as well. Now then, you're going to take 4 big, firm tomatoes. We're going to pluck them away from the vine, like so. Super fresh, you want them really nice and firm. You don't want them mushy or too juicy. Pop that to one side. And now what you want to do is, each one of these tomatoes, you're going to slice it in half, like so. And then we'll grab our rubbish bowl that we've used to peel our onions. And what we're going to do is just take a little teaspoon and you want to scoop the insides into the rubbish bowl because you want to get rid of all that juice because it's going to make it too wet and you want it to fry and go nice and crispy. And if it's too moist, it's just not going to work. This is a really important step. You want to make sure you hollow them out before you chop the tomatoes because it makes it a lot easier to handle the moisture. If you chop the tomatoes, what you're going to have to do is actually squeeze them to get any moisture out, and you're going to lose some of that flesh as well. This way it's a lot easier to just scoop out the juice. You're left with a nice hollow tomato like so, and then we can chop that up really fine and make a nice tomato balls or tomato fritters, whichever you want to call them. Perfect, so that's them scooped out. We can pop our rubbish bowl over to one side. And then all we're going to do now is just finely chop the tomatoes into little cubes. So there you go, there's your nice finely chopped tomato. Shouldn't be too juicy because you've scooped out the insides. Absolutely fantastic. What we're going to do now is just grab a large mixing bowl like so. And then we're going to just start to take these ingredients. So we're going to take the tomato first, pop that in there, but we've got the garlic and the red onion as well. All of that's going to go in there together. So let's just pop all that into a large mixing bowl because that's all going to mix together and that's going to make our nice patties. So let's just scrape that last little bit up into the bowl. Fantastic. So what we've got here is 2 tablespoons of dried mint. Now you can use fresh mint if you want. I'd suggest using a bit more. Use quite a big bunch of fresh mint if you're going to use it. The dried mint like this is going to be quite powerful, so I'm using it like that. Also, I like to use dried mint for this recipe because it's a little bit drier, obviously, and you want your patties to be nice and dry so they get really crispy when you fry them together. So we're just going to give that a quick stir together like so. And then here I've got just over 1/3 of a cup of vegan cheese. Now, in Santorini where I was staying, if you go and ask at the restaurants, a lot of them will make it without feta. A lot of the recipes will use feta in there. It binds it a little bit, but it makes it a lot more decadent, obviously. So I'm gonna use vegan cheese today. So that's just 1/3 of a cup of grated vegan cheese, and that's gonna do the same job as what the feta does. It's gonna really bind it all together. So we're gonna pop that in there and give that a mix. And then over here, I've got some salt. So you want a big pinch of salt, just probably over a teaspoon of salt that you're gonna add into there. And we're also gonna add some black pepper in there. Let's just grate that in there. Quite coarse black pepper. And again, you want about a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half of black pepper. So just add that in there, fantastic. And then over here, we've got some plain white flour. So what I'm gonna do is, first of all, I'm gonna add in 1/2 cup of plain white flour. You want about 1.5 cups at hand, ready to go. But first of all, just add in like the 1/2 cup and start to stir it and combine it all together. Because what you want really is like a thick combined batter that you're gonna be able to make into your patties. There we go, that's great. That's great. Because I've done a really good job of getting all the moisture out of the tomatoes, it's actually really thick already. So I'm not gonna need much more flour at all. I think I'm gonna add a few more tablespoons though, just to make sure. So let's take our cup's worth here. Let's add a tablespoon in and then just carry on mixing. Anytime you're doing this, anytime you're adding flour or anything like that, add a little bit at a time and you can kind of start to work it out as you go and make sure that you're going to end up with a mixture that's exactly right. There's no point chucking in the exact measured, requirement in that, whatever the recipe says, and then later on you're like, oh, I wish I could take some flour out because now it's a bit too dry. So let's go in with another tablespoon and give it a mix. I'm thinking it's going to probably need 1 more tablespoon, potentially 2, and I think we're going to be okay. As you start to mix the tomatoes together, they're going to release a tiny bit of the moisture that's in the flesh. So yeah, touch more flour, another heaped tablespoon like that. Let's have a look, how are we looking? Yeah, it's getting nice and thick now. Okay, 1 more tablespoon and we're going to be absolutely golden. So bang that in there, we'll pop that over to one side now, we're not going to need any more of that. And let's just combine it all together. You're going to want a really thick batter like this. That's fantastic, like a dough, that's what you want. Okay, so that's all mixed together. What we're going to do now is we're going to pop some oil in our skillet and start to get that nice and hot. So in the bottom of the skillet, what you're going to want enough oil for about 1/2 centimetre worth, because you're going to want the oil to come about halfway up the patties themselves to get them really nice and crispy. You're not going to want to quite deep fry them, but you're not going to be far off. Nice thick layer of oil in the bottom of that pan. Okay, so now our oil's nice and hot, we're going to actually make our patties. So just pop that bowl over to one side, wipe down our board just to make sure it's nice and dry. We've spent so much time scooping out those tomatoes, you don't want to get the patties wet at this stage. We really want them nice and crispy. So pop that over to one side there. Then we're going to take a little bit of this extra flour and let's just dust our surface a little bit just to make sure it's really, really dry. Fantastic. Tiny bit of that flour on my hands for making the patties. And then you want to take a little lump of it like that, roll it into a bit of a ball. That's it. I'm just going to press that into a patty, flip it over, press it both sides. And that's what you want. I mean, it's a little bit smaller than my palm. My hand's a little bit big for my size. So small palm patty like that. You want to continue to make as many as you can out of the mixture. The reason you want them this size is, you go any bigger, you go any thicker, you're going to leave the inside quite soggy still. So this kind of size, they're really going to crisp on the outside, but then cook all the way through. So just continue with about that amount, just making your little patties. There we go. Into a bit of a ball, plop it in the flour, pat it down to make it into your patty, and then just flip it over. And there you have it. Just continue that, make the rest of them. You're always nice and hot now. As soon as we're ready, we're going to start popping them in that oil. Okay, so here we've got 8 evenly sized patties. What I'm going to do now is scoop them up and just drop them in that oil. Okay, so you're going to fry them a few minutes either side, get them really nice and crispy. Oh, they're going to be stunning. Okay, so they've been frying for a couple of minutes on that side. Let's just give them a flip over. Oh yeah, beautifully and crispy. That's exactly how you want them. Oh yeah, right, okay. Let's just flip this over. Nice and gentle, fantastic. Ooh, these are gonna be some taste. That's it. Couple more minutes on that side as well, and they're gonna be good to go. Got 4 more to serve up. Okay, they're gonna be really crispy now, so we're just gonna scoop them out with a spatula, give them a little shake, try and get any excess oil off them, and then we're just gonna pop them on a piece of kitchen paper, on a plate, just to soak up some of that excess oil. You want it to be nice and crispy, you don't want it to go soggy at this stage. There we go. Any excess oil off there, and then pop them on that paper. And I'm gonna fry the rest. These are gonna be absolutely delish. Perfect, now just to serve them up. So all I do, I take a few like this, pop them on the plate. Little bit of Greek yogurt at the side. This is vegan style Greek yogurt. So I'm just gonna go for a couple of dollops, like so. Happy days. Then all we're gonna add in is a big pinch of salt, some black pepper, and if you use fresh mint, you can go with fresh mint. I'm gonna go with just some roughly chopped parsley. There we go. I'm just gonna scatter that on top. Happy days, nice and fresh. These are gonna be beautifully and crispy. Make sure you take all the moisture out of the tomatoes. Give this one a go at home. It's really nice and tasty. Please like and subscribe. Until next time, friends, just be nice to each other and goodbye.